pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Welcome to our budget meeting. I would like to have a motion to enter into that budget meeting. Mr. Johnson, and I'll take a second on that. Mr. Shavo, all in favor? Thank you very much. And would you like to start, Ms. Fields?
Sure. I am going to turn over tonight's presentation to our Assistant Superintendent for Educational Services, and she will take us through some information about some new programs and staffing, and then I'll finish at the end with some updates on enrollment.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You need some assistance.
Okay, so good evening to the board, Superintendent Skills, the cabinet of course is here with us, Ms. Howard, Mr. Stein, everyone who is with us in the audience and those folks who are at home. And I know our board chair she's walking in right now to Mrs. Mary Arnillo, our board chair, budget chair, who is with us this evening. As you've heard from both Superintendent Skills and Ms. Howard over the last couple of weeks, North County is in good fiscal shape to support our entire learning community. So tonight I'm just going to give you a few updates. I think I should maybe take this off. A few updates on some of our new programs, staffing, and our curriculum for the summer. So we will begin. First we have, for some of us, I know this may be reviewed, this is one of our new programs that will not have any sort of budgetary impact. This is our program where we have, I don't know if Mr. Murdano is here with us tonight, but this will be our AP Computer Science course, and what we are going to do this year is we are going to actually offer it, have dual enrollment so that students can also receive college credit through Sienna. This is through our college and the high school program that we have. We have a couple of programs at the high school where we offer this. As you can see, I don't want to read through all the bullets for you, but some of the big highlights is the opportunity that it does provide for our students. Major opportunity for growth and exploration. We want to be really cognizant of making sure that we're setting up opportunities in a very intentional manner that very much so replicate. If they're choosing to go to college, that it is going to look like that and engage them in that manner. So this is a new program that we will be doing. As I said, no budget implications. This is just a dual enrollment program. Next we have, this is new to us, that this is, we have been able to accommodate this in the past. It's a testing center that we'd like to offer at our middle school. Any of us who have been in the world of education, and when testing time comes, we have a number of students who are well deserving of accommodations that need to be made. Those accommodations may look like extended time. It may look like, reading the test to a student. So we want to really be cognizant of really setting up the environments that are responsive in that way to students. And so this is an opportunity for us to sort of expand some of the supports that we're providing. So we're looking to be able to do that. As times change and as testing continues to be a thing in education, we just want to make sure that as an educational institution that we're always being cognizant of setting up the right environment for students. So this is a program or a center that we would have. All that we're looking for, I'll get into that with the staffing, is adding a teacher assistant to this program to support the work that will be done in this setting. Okay. Really a joy to speak to. I know that Mr. Martin is here, and also we have Ms. Mankey, who is here. This is a program that we're very much so excited about. It's expanding our transition program. One of the things that I think is really great, Superintendent Skills has been really mindful of really talking to us about, and especially with everything that's coming out the state with the New York Inspires, the formerly known as the Blue Ribbon Commission, really thinking about how we are supporting our students beyond high school, and so really being very intentional about post sort of secondary work. And so this program here is one for our students with disabilities, where we will be thinking about what does that look like beyond our setting. How are we setting up students to do more work that is community-based? How are we strengthening students' independence? How are we making sure that we individualize pathways for students so that as individual students can be successful, that we don't necessarily generalize just because students may have, they still may be growing and developing in certain ways, but that we're being mindful of who they are as individual human beings. As I said when I spoke to this before, what makes me really proud about this programming is this notion of dignity and making sure that we're always cognizant of maintaining everyone's dignity. And I think this programming is doing that. I appreciate the leadership and the thought that has gone in from the PPS team to do this work. So this is something that we are very much so excited about doing. I think that is the last of our new programs. Any questions? Start with the board and yes, Ms.
The testing center teacher assistant, is there a distinction between, like, I don't know actually, at the teacher assistant level between general education and special education?
No.
Okay, so there's, just because I would assume that most of these are, or many of these will be special education students at some level.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you are a teacher's assistant who has spent the bulk of your time supporting students with disabilities, there is an awareness that you have specifically with IEPs and 504 plans, but we don't do any distinguishing as far as roles saying, supporting that. All right, so just like I had shared with our programs, most of our staffing requests, I mean, anytime that we are in this budget cycle, our staffing requests will always be very much so driven by either new programs or enrollment. So you'll see that we provided a column in our table that really speaks to rationale. So that is when you see that new program or enrollment, that's making the distinction between the two as to why there was the staffing request. So you can see just about from everything that I shared, the TA for the middle school testing center, for our transition program, we will be looking for one full-time person. We do have a grant that will support that, our ITEA grant that will support that staffing request. In addition to that, we are also looking to have a transition coordinator. I think, what we recognize is that there are lots that go into community partnerships and we're working with students. And we want to make sure that we have someone who is really intentional with supporting our students. So any sort of partnerships or liaison work that has to be done with the state to support students, we want to make sure that this person is able to devote their attention to that so that students can be supported through the duration of our transition program. So we are asking for additional staffing there. We are also looking to have a psychologist. I think some of everyone who, I think most folks who are in this room know that we have, or I have, a great passion for work that is titled as multi-tiered systems of support. That is work that really supports the whole child. As we continue to do this work, we notice that we really want to make sure that all of our efforts are focused on doing this work well. So oftentimes our school psychologists are the folks who are most proximate to doing a lot of the testing and assessment and thinking about things that impact social and emotional behavior. So we'd like to increase that by one so that work at our high school could really advance when it comes to multi-tiered systems of supports at the high school. All right, next, you can see, I know Ms. Keto is here tonight, this is one position where we're asking for a 0.2 because our enrollment has increased. There's a significant amount of interest in certain electives that Ms. Keel's department is doing, and we're really excited about that because that means that we're doing good things that make students happy and they want to stay or they want to invest in it. So we're asking for that. We are also looking to do similar to what I mentioned on the previous slide with MTSS. We are also looking to make sure that on an elementary level that we're accommodating all of our students, especially our students who are really students who are making growth, they're approaching grade level, or students who may be struggling below grade level. We want to make sure that there's some intervention work that can happen with them. So we're asking for a 0.5 specialist to just be able to support those numbers. A big component of MTSS, you'll see up there, is Tier 2. That piece is really a new model where we start to think about how do we all collaborate, how do we bring adults together, specialists, classroom teachers together to support students. And sometimes when you're limited on the number of specialists that you have, it makes that collaboration and capacity building a little bit more challenging. So we feel like all we need is 0.5 to support that. And then next, this is, we're looking to do 2 additional hall monitors. We're really just being mindful, we're thinking about some refiguring of using folks. As you know, there's lots of people in school settings, whether that be new aides, hall monitors that are supporting students. We're thinking that an increase in hall monitors will really help us to sort of increase the adult supervision, make sure that there's sort of active engagement throughout the building rather just like localized in one space. Hall monitors, just by virtue of their role, have that flexibility to sort of move about, to move into spaces that may be unsupervised. And we want to be really intentional to make sure that that support and supervision is happening during peak hours, hours or times in the day where we may know that transition may be a little bit longer, so it may be helpful to have some additional supervision in the building. So we're looking to have 2 full-time hall monitors. And then on the non-instructional side, and I may look to Ms. Howard to support me because if I am not able to give it, explain this as well as it needs to be explained, but I think I can. We're looking for a clerical just to support in our transportation department, really folks who can really assist with some of the daily operations down in transportation. We want to be able to support that so that we can increase efficiency and make sure that work is happening in the manner and at the level that we have been able to maintain. We want to continue that, so we are looking to add 1 clerical there. And then for the next one, this is really just a transition where we'd like to transition folks who have been essentially doing the duties of a Secretary 1 to sort of align that. So I think this is a great thing. I think, again, speaking to dignity, when people are doing the work and we are able to acknowledge the work that we're doing and validate it by giving them the appropriate title, that's what we want to be able to do. So that is a transition. Questions with the staffing?
I have just a question about the psychologist. Do we have one in every school?
We do.
Okay, that's what I just wanted to see.
Yeah, we do, and I will say to you, as years ago when the transition changed, or when the state looked to kind of begin to move from that sort of AIS model to an RTI model, school psychologists became very, very significant, and I think it's because of just their knowledge around diagnostic assessments and doing work to sort of evaluate students. So I often will say sometimes you could always use a little bit more there, but being mindful and cognizant of our budget, we just need what we need.
And is there only one at Shaker High School, or do we have more?
No, I believe right now there are 2 to 3. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 and then this will be 4.
Yeah, this will be 4.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
The intervention specialist, it says elementary, is that going to be specific to a building or are they going to travel?
Well, I think we always end up in a space, I can always let Mr. Deneen speak, we end up in a space where we do have some travel, But what I know Mr. Janine has been really good when we're thinking about buildings where the needs are significant, we really do try to stabilize that support and make sure that they are consistent. So it's usually based on need. Would you say I have that accurate?
You absolutely do, and our first goal is to try to not travel, because that's just learning loss time, or instructional loss time, I should say. We do have to do some of it, but we're always trying to minimize.
Yes,
The IDEA grant, is that a federal program?
it is.
Are we concerned about what may happen if that grant is not paid out as advertised?
Not that one.
Are we concerned about what may happen if that grant is not paid out as advertised?
I think there's always concern, for sure. I think that we are definitely in times where we're having to think about 5, 6 steps ahead. That being said, I'm pretty confident, just based on some of what I'm seeing and what I now know about Ms. Howard, that I think that if we think it's something that is important for our students, that we'll do our best to make it happen. But I think your point is valid.
Okay.
There's always questions and concerns.
Thank you.
I just wanted to comment on the note about the testing center and the coordinator. Just like to commend the work on that, just because of how, you know, we have students that are with us, and then making sure that people are successful when they leave our district. And I think the testing center really contributes to, you know, when they move on to college and being familiar with that environment for testing centers in college, and just the transition coordinator thinking beyond for making sure that special ed has the support. So I just want to commend all those, you know, for the special ed community. I just think that's wonderful.
Yeah, no, I thank you for that. I will take any credit. That was definitely Mr. Chamberlain and Ms. Flynn, who have, you know, the leadership of Mr. Harden, who were really very thoughtful about that. And I think they continue to just be strong advocates. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate the noticing of the transition coordinator as well. So the next 2 slides, I will not put you through all of this, or I read through all of this, but I'm very proud of this work. This is our summer curriculum professional learning proposals. I think, you know, just as someone who has had a great opportunity to lead out on this work, it is always really nice to see our team of administrators be so invested in their own sort of working development. Another piece that I really enjoyed with reviewing the proposals this year is that there was real intentionality to align with our pillars. People were really cognizant of that. I would say I was on providing feedback, at times saying to folks, okay, let's do this. Everyone, all of the administrators, all the supervisors, all the principals, all the directors were extremely thoughtful and accommodating. So when I provided feedback, people were very helpful and wanting to say, okay, let's do whatever we need to do to make this work. So it was an enjoyable process to sort of go through and review. The plus is that we are not spending any more money than we have spent any previous summers to do this work. We're very much so in line. I always think that we probably, and I look to superintendent skills, oftentimes we come in a lot less than what we budgeted for, so it actually works out very well. But what you can see from the slides that are here is that we broke this out from work that was district, K through 12, focus, elementary, and then secondary, just to really give you an idea of some of the work that is going on. Our continued focus on curriculum, you see up there plenty of times, CKLA, iReady. All of our supervisors were really thoughtful about what their folks, what the data is telling them throughout the year, and how do we take that information and create some learning opportunities in the summer so that we can actually build our programming. So everything is very much aligned and based on sort of needs and how do we sustain really good work. So that's district, and this is some of our secondary work that we will be doing. Pam's not here. I wanted to acknowledge because you know, Pam, our ELA supervisor, will be transitioning, and she did some tremendous work, you know, trying to set up what summer work will look like for her department. Really meaningful work. So I wanted the opportunity to be able to extend that to her. But this is our work. questions on the summer curriculum? You know, it's a lot. You can always email me if you do have questions. Yes, I'll say.
A lot of good opportunities right here. So we're happy we can offer them.
Yeah,
You know,
very much
that we
so.
have.
It's a real gift to be able to afford this, especially in these times, so it's a very good thing.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Who will be attending this? It's all of our faculty and staff. Yeah. Okay. There are no other questions? I am done. Thank you again for this opportunity. Turn it over to Ms. Steels.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It's okay. I was gonna help you, I just love it so much.
Yes, I want to say, as we look at the work that the TAG has done in putting together this part of the budget, I think there are really great opportunities for our students here. A couple of things that I just thought it would be helpful to remind the board of, Mary, to your point, we did have a teacher on special assignment years ago who served as a transition coordinator and did that work full-time. That was incredibly helpful work. It kind of went away when a person retired and then COVID hit, and we have a great team and everybody kind of is willing to go in and help. But in order to navigate some of the systems, it is so essential to have somebody who is willing to do that full time to assist families and assist students, not just when they leave after high school, but even all throughout their program and thinking about what their ultimate goals are. So to be able to return to that is really great. And for the dual enrollment, one thing I wanted to share is we have a similar program right now in statistics with dual enrollment for AP statistics, and it's not through Siena, it's through SUNY Albany. But the beauty of that is we really want to stretch our kids, and sometimes they're afraid, like, I'm going to take this course and then maybe I won't do well in the AP exam and then I'm not going to get any credit, and isn't that a waste of my time? And in this way, even if they don't score a 3 or 4 or 5, which might be recognized for credit, they can still get university and the high school credit for it. So it really is an ability to take a risk, to stretch yourself academically, and you have multiple ways of getting college credit. So I'm excited for some of those ideas because I think it really hits on what we're always trying to do, which is expand opportunities for students. And I'm grateful that we have that opportunity to do that in our district. As we look at enrollment, I know we already did a whole night on enrollment, so I know you don't need all the buildings again, but I just wanted to bring everybody back to the projected totals by level for where we are this year in 24-25 and where we project to be. And what you can see is really Dr. McGibbon, who was our demographer, who has been projecting our numbers for years, he had always said, you are going to grow, and then you're going to plateau. There's going to be a point where you're going to level out. And when we were thinking about the middle school, and there was a thought like, do we need another elementary school? And he was saying, you're kind of in the worst of it right now. You might be overbuilding if you build another elementary school. And as we watch these numbers come in, even with a worldwide pandemic in between, as he updates these numbers, it is actually coming true exactly the way he had projected. So I always like to joke, but I guess there's a reason you can get a doctorate in demography, because you know what you're talking about. So you can see our elementary schools are forecasted to have a difference of 4 students from this year to next year. Our middle school is forecasted to have 2 students difference. And you can see the high school now is going up by 48 students. So when we see that 0.2 for music, that's 48 more students who are looking for electives. And anytime we can offer electives and have an opportunity for students, and these are some non-traditional music courses that students might be interested in. If it's that versus a study hall, if we can give them a class and interest over study hall, that's always a great opportunity. And that's that bubble we've been following all the way through, and it's now just starting to hit the high school. So overall, our growth as a district is still going, but it's slowed down. So we're at 6,181 this year. I pulled out a couple weeks ago. And we're projected to go to 6,223 next year, with the bulk of it going to the high school. Relatedly, I wanted to show you the number of sections that we're projecting for next year as our numbers start to steady now in our elementary buildings. The board will remember that as we were building Bout Hills into a 4-deep school, we had some bubbles going through in the other buildings as we were working through getting every grade level to 4 deep in Bout Hills during the last building project. So you'll see right now that for next year in yellow, Forest Ferry in 5th grade will have a 4 deep section. That's one of those bubbles that's been going through all along. And then they'll return to being a 3 deep building, which is what they were originally designed for. Blue Creek stays a 3 deep building, Bout Hill stays a 4 deep building, Latham Ridge stays a 3 deep building, Loudon stays a 2 deep building. And Southgate actually has a little bubble going through. In 1st grade this year, it's actually a very small current 1st grade. There are only 2 sections. So when they move next year to 2nd grade, that will stay at 2 sections. And so we will have 2 sections in 2nd grade. And next year, you can see it's in yellow, 5th grade will go to 3 sections. Now you might wonder why that's in yellow, because Southgate is a 3 deep building. Southgate currently is 4 deep this year in 5th grade. So when they go to the middle school next year, it will revert back to 3 deep. So overall, we're actually eliminating 1 section of elementary because we don't need it when they get spread out across. And the following year, in the same way, when that Forest Ferry class graduates as 4 deep, we'll eliminate another section. Because our numbers have really stabilized, and now that we have the 4 deep Bout Hills, we're able to keep the numbers pretty consistent across all the buildings. So we'll end up with a total of 108 sections. Still keeping our kindergartens as is with 3 in most of the buildings, 4 in Bout Hills, and 2, of course, in Loudon. Any questions on enrollment? We have a short presentation tonight. That is our last slide. We are very grateful again for the work of the team, of people putting in really thoughtful responses. As we have shared, we know that we're in a good fiscal position, but we really have talked at length with our administrative team about trying to budget not just for this year, but for future years where things may not be as fluid as they may be this year. And so really appreciate the thoughtfulness that went into everybody's requests and really putting our students' needs at the front and center. So these are smaller requests than you've seen in previous years. We have been very generous, and I think we've done a great job to build a staff that supports our students really well. So we appreciate the support. We do have smaller requests this year.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone for all of your good work, helping us do this work. That's right.
Ms. Gills, have we had any questions online submitted?
We do not.
Not either from the past 2 meetings, we have had none. Okay. Just, I apologize for my tardiness. I meant to ask the question at the beginning of the meeting when noted that anyone has questions, they can send them in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again. I'd like a motion to enter into an executive session. That's what I need now. This is Albert, and I would like a second. This is Rosillo, and all in favor of executive session work. All right, thank you very much, and thank you all for being here with us tonight. We're going to.
Thank you, everybody.